Hey, what's up? I'm here with Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
How's it
for
going?
having us.
Got Breezy, and we also got the Cuz.
What's going on?
Cheers.
Cheers.
At 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
so much.
Right off the bat, I guess my first question for you, we were just discussing that we're sort of the same age, and I wondered how you ended up going sort of backwards in time in terms of music influence.
I think it had a lot to do with the music that my dad listened to, my granddad listened to, and the music I was sort of raised around. And one thing is like I love old music. I listen to of course a lot of old stuff, but I don't want our music to be like museum piece music. You know what I mean? Like I write about stuff that's now and here, and I want to sort of make something that's real and has a link to the past and feels timeless, but also sort of matters now. You know what I mean? That's always been my goal.
Which Wages does. I mean, everything's raising, super topical.
Yeah.
I mean, even Clap Your Hands. There's something really. There's 2 cups of wine.
2 bottles of wine.
2 bottles of wine. That's got like almost like a gang vocal to it.
Yeah.
So I guess I have to ask you this because I've never met you before. It's the first time I've ever spoken to your band. But tell me the hand story, because the story's crazy.
Oh yeah. Well, you can see right there. See that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then on the other side too.
Both hands?
Both hands. Yeah. I was 18, and I've been playing since I was 12. So at that point, I'd been playing a third of my life, and it was so much a part of who I was. Even at that point. And I woke up one day after a show, and my hands just didn't work. And it wasn't just that they hurt. There was a stiffness that just made it where they just didn't move the same. And it got to be where, it hurt to open a doorknob, hurt to do anything. I couldn't do, play guitar, forget about it, but other things I couldn't do, And I was pretty lost for a while. As you might imagine, just being 18 years old and your hands don't work right, and just, sort of always feeling sore and stiff, and it was kind of a dark time, but I never gave up hope, and I went to different doctors and talked to different people, and finally we met this fellow who said, I think I know what's wrong, but I got to cut your hands open to find out. And he said, if I'm right, I'm going to cut away all this scar tissue and these little microscopic cysts that have grown on your tendons. If I'm wrong, I'm going to cut away half your tendon and see if that helps. So I woke up, and he's like, I was right. So nice. and my hands have been great ever since. And I asked him if it would ever happen again. He said maybe not. He said it was random that it happened before. He said some people are kind of prone to that happening, and some people aren't. He said, it's just sort of a weird luck of the draw kind of thing. So. But the miracle is that after the surgery, after I got my hands back, I was a better player. I think I was even a better person somehow. Like I just didn't take it for granted. It's every day that you get to do what we do is a gift, and I've really felt like I was put on this earth to play guitar, and it turns out I was. I just had to have a little time off for a while.
Yeah. There's always a back door, I think, if you really want to do something. There's a different way to get there.
Well, I don't know like what you believe or what people believe. I don't even know what I believe, but I do think that sometimes things happen for a reason. I think that sometimes it's very hard to see why that is, but I think this somehow happened for a reason, and it made me better. And it was a dark time, and I look back on it as sort of like the best and worst thing that has just about has ever happened to me.
Yeah, you also met Breezy in that time. Is that correct?
1 week after the surgery, my hands were still bandaged up.
Oh man! So were you like, who's this crazy guy with bandages on his hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
As
bit
opposed
probably.
to now, where I'm just, who's this crazy guy? Yeah, because he wasn't playing yet quite when we first met.
Yeah. After
his surgery, so he was still recouping. So I didn't know quite how crazy he was and how much he played the guitar until I was already hooked.
Well, what's it like playing when you're in a relationship with someone? You guys are married. What's that like? Is that a little?
I think it makes it a lot easier touring, especially. But even when he's writing songs and it, I don't know, it's most bands, you know, someone might go write a song and bring it to there, but I feel like I'm there for the whole process with him. So, but definitely on the road, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, I don't really know how a lot of people do it, being so far away from each other, especially how much we tour. And we don't tour like most bands. You know, we do 250 shows a year, so we're on the road most of the year by far. So.
Well, I mean, talk about that. I mean, that live show importance to this band, because I really feel like that's.
Yeah.
Well, it's been our bread and butter for since day one, and I tell you this much too. It's kind of a, you know, as things have started like progressing in a certain way with music, you know, people are starting to, I don't know, not get away from recorded music, but recorded music is sort of up in the air as to what's going to happen with it, and things are changing and everything. You know, I think there'll always be a place for real, from the heart music played live. That's something you can't download that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't get that on a CD. So I think it means that a band like us has to work harder, you know, to bring the music to people. But in a way too, I think that's just fine. I think that in the end, I think people are going to be better off. You know, also too, I think in a way it's kind of bringing vinyl back. We're selling so much vinyl right now, and the vinyl comes with a digital download, so you can put on your iPod, you can listen to it analog at home, and you get the big artwork. You know, it's like, I think that's really cool. I think it's a good thing. I hope that stays happening. I hope it's not something that goes away. You know, I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, totally, I agree. And the Cuz, you're new. Well, you're a year in, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that process. Was it intimidating coming into the band?
I was their tour manager. I was their stage manager at the Americana Music Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, and met him and figured out that, you know, we lived 30 miles away from each other in log cabins. And then I invited Rev out to a show for a honky tonk band I was playing with, and I said, "This is my drumming gig." And that sentence has literally changed me from being a social worker to playing drums in a 5-gallon bucket every day. So it was a very painless, easy, natural process. The whole, like, we rehearsed for a couple months, cut the new record, The Wages, did a big show and the Vogue in our hometown, and then that was, from there on, I don't really remember what's happened.
Yeah. We've been around the world since then. Yeah. I said this time next year, you'll have been around the world.
Now, I mean, one question I really wanted to ask you guys was, what was it like touring with Flogging Molly?
Awesome.
Huge fan of that.
Oh man, let me tell you, those guys are the most real, the most amazing people. They're all super, like, they're music lovers, man. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been at it a dozen or more years. You know, and we've met a lot of guys on the road that are, you know, been at it that long.
Jaded,
wore out.
Bitter.
You know, they're annoyed to have to be there. They're annoyed to have to talk to fans, and
they don't play backstage, you know, and
Flogging Molly, they love it all. You know, like the set will be done. You know, show's over, everybody's rocked out. There's been a sold out crowd. You know, we talked to all kinds of great people and had all this fun, and those guys are going to be like, hey, we're going to some Irish bar down the street. We're just going to play. Come with us. And then we would, literally. Yeah. And we pack up our instruments, we'd go to some Irish bar down the street and just show up. And for this Irish bar, there's Flogging Molly just walking in with instruments like, hey, we're going to play here for a while. And they're like, okay, you know, whatever, you know. And then they would do it. And I mean, honest to God, that's the kind of people they are. It was so much fun. They're awesome people. You know, still to this day, you know, they're our pals. And you know, we can call them up and be like, hey, man, you got any advice? We've got this and this going on. What would you do?
Yeah.
You know, 'cause they've been at it so long. I really you know, trust you know, their opinion on stuff, and they've been really good about that. Just been really good pals.
Was that where the side one connection started?
That's exactly.
Okay, I wondered because
on that tour actually.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
The tour had been going great at that point, and we were selling a lot of CDs to the point where it was almost becoming a challenge between us and Flogging Molly because we were outselling them. Granted, most people owned their CD,
record already,
and we were a new band, but so they were kind of blown away by that, and they had mentioned it to people from the label.
Yeah.
And instead of being mad about it, they were awesome about it. They're calling up Side One. You got to come see this band. They're selling these records. So Side One, they show up in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas show. And it was Joe and Bill, the two guys that owned Side One, and all they did was they heard me sound check a guitar. Like, they didn't hear us play, didn't see the set. They had heard me sound check a guitar, and backstage, Joe Sibb said, "Are we going to make a record or what?"
Wow.
It was just like that, literally. That was it. Then they watched the set, and you know, it was all over from there. You know, and it's been really cool. I really like Sci-One. They let us, you know, be ourselves. They let us, you know, they say, Rev, you got to.
In fact, we already had the record done. The first record we did with them, completely done, artwork, everything.
Just hand it to them.
And we were about to put it out ourselves.
And they
and
said,
we just handed it to them.
They said, awesome. We want to release this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's just the first time it's ever happened. You know, that they just straight released something that was just handed to them like that. You know.
That's awesome.
And when it came time to do the wages, you know, they let me do the wages the way I wanted to do it. You know, I wanted to do it, you know, record it in Southern Indiana. You know, right next to near where we all live. I wanted to do it live to analog tape.
No overdubs.
You know, I wanted to do it like that, and it you know, they were down. They backed it. They're like, sure, man, let's do it.
ExploreMusic wears English Laundry apparel.